Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you with more of the WWE RAW April 20th, 2015 preview. Tomorrow with the Return of the Authority, Triple H is going to be making his televised announcement of Tough Enough, making its return to the USA Network. It's going to be coming back this early part of summer. It's going to be in the late part of June. It's actually going to be a Tuesday night show. I know that back in... what year was it, man? 2010? Is that when WWE was running Tough Enough after Monday Night Raw? I always remembered it being a part of watching Monday Night Raw, and then Tough Enough came on right after it. But then again, that was back when Monday Night Raw was only 2 hours. So WWE is going to be asking people to be switching over to watching WWE on Tuesday nights on USA. I know that WWE is not going to be owning the USA Network until the early part of January, when SmackDown moves over to the USA Network from Sci-Fi. That would be kind of weird for the USA Network. You might as well just call it the WWE Network if they were going to be running 3-hour Raws on Monday, then asking you to come back for a 1-hour Tough Enough on Tuesday, and then SmackDown also on Thursdays. That's still weird to say. That it's going to be on there. But the Tough Enough is going to be making its return. There's going to be a lot of announcements on Monday Night Raw tomorrow with Triple H. Basically, a lot of people thinking that he's going to be naming the host, who is rumored to be Chris Jericho. Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, by now everyone knows, is not going to be making his return. He's too caught up in his CMT reality shows, game shows, I guess you can call them, Redneck Island, and Broken Skull Challenge? Yeah, there we go. I didn't think I knew it, and then I pulled it out of my ass at the last minute. He's got his own shows. He wanted to do Tough Enough. Basically, WWE, when they started talking to Stone Cold Steve Austin, told them that he was going to be shooting these shows a month or 2 months ahead of time, and then they ended up being pushed back. And then when WWE ended up going to film Tough Enough, Stone Cold Steve Austin had already promised himself the CMT for another project and had to turn it down. This is where all the stories came from, of all this heat being in the background. Of course, WWE has other names in their hats. Some people have thought of maybe Taz coming in. I think it's too soon to be naming Taz as the host. I know that he has left TNA Impact, but some to say a lot of the reports saying that Taz is going to stay under contract. That way he's not able to leave. So I guess TNA wouldn't be paying him anymore, but he still can't just pack up his things and go to WWE for the greener pastures of joining their announce team and or joining Tough Enough. I know that Taz was a previous host of the show, but I don't think that WWE is actually really looking for a trainer for Tough Enough. I know that they have Trish Stratus. They have Booker T still under contract. Of course, Bill DeMott no longer with the company. More than likely will not be joining Tough Enough. Tough Enough was the show that brought Bill DeMott into the company. He had found himself on the outs after being fired from the whole Deep South fiasco, but basically thought that Bill DeMott would be a great trainer and coach to add to Tough Enough for the USA 2010 show. Might have been 2011. I could be screwing this up throughout the whole thing. It was WrestleMania 27 is where they had their debut. Was right after Monday Night Raw. I remember all of the Tough Enough competitors being in the ring with The Miz. Of course, The Miz wasn't able to physically wrestle that night because he suffered a concussion in the main event of WrestleMania 27. I can remember that Big Andy won the show, and then he had one of the worst segments of all time with Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he took a Stone Cold Stunner, picked himself and dusted himself off after maybe 5 seconds at the most on the ground. Of course, that was the Monday Night Raw with R-Truth dressing up in the Confederate soldier outfit. I remember watching that on vacation at my mom's house and feeling sort of embarrassed that I was upstairs watching Monday Night Raw instead of hanging out and we weren't really doing anything. We were just sort of killing time. Everybody was watching television. I chose to go upstairs and watch wrestling. But, that's the life that I live. But maybe we'll get to see Chris Jericho on Monday Night Raw. How that goes down with Triple H naming Chris Jericho as the host of the show when Chris Jericho and Triple H don't get along in the WWE Universe. land. Maybe they just get along for the show. I don't really see Chris Jericho coming out portraying himself as a heel. His last few times being in WWE, he's been monster killer babyface. Not getting a lot of wins, but just sort of being there. So we'll have to see what these things are. Will the show be hosted in California again? Will it be hosted live from the Performance Center? Honestly, I think that would be one of the biggest things for WWE to do, is to host the show from the Performance Center, sort of showing off these billion-dollar places that they have. You know, there's as many as 8 rings, I believe, inside of the Performance Center, with sort of a media room to work on promos. There's a whole lot of things that be going on in there. They could be turning that training center into just a full-on media center where they're filming these shows. I know that they've gone to the Performance Center for a lot of their press deals for launching shows and having press conferences now, since it's so big and so spacious. Make some money off that damn thing. They're really portraying this as the future way of making WWE futures. This is one way to really make a future, and make a future of a star that could actually be a part of there. Of course, many people have gone on and been a part of Tough Enough to be a part of the show. You can think of Cameron, Miz, Ryback. I can't think of any of the winners becoming big stars. Jackie Gadea, and aka Charlie Haas's wife, might be the biggest one. Christy Hemme, she won a Diva Search. She doesn't even count. I think a lot of the people that won Tough Enough, maybe Maven was a big star for a little while, being a hardcore champion. Not a lot of them had a lot of success. A lot of the losers made them stronger in the long run. Of course, out of Tough Enough, its last run on USA, only Cameron ended up joining the main roster as a Funkadactyl, and then on Total Divas. Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he kicked her off the show, told her that she does have a future in this business as she worked hard to get it, and she sure did work hard. And when she came up as a member of the Funkadactyls, I remember a whole lot of people laughing, saying, I think that's the girl who liked the Alicia Fox vs. Melina match at SummerSlam. But we'll have to see. Lots of news about Tough Enough coming out tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. Triple H, Chris Jericho, maybe.